and eventually the country, if he's elected. He says it is possible. But is it really? On Face to Face today, that's the conversation we're having. My name is Umar Rusandamadu, and you're welcome to Face to Face. Dr. Gideon Boako is a student of economics, just like his boss, the man he works for, Dr. Bawumia, the vice president of the land. He's also the spokesperson of the vice president. He has an interest in going to parliament, but for purposes of this discussion, we're talking about his job, who is hoping to be president of the land using the New Patriotic Party as a vehicle. Many have said it is not possible, but his campaign team insists it is possible. Is it really possible? Dr. Gideon Boako, you're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you, Sander.
How are you?
I'm doing well. You look fresh today.
You're looking nice too. I mean, have you always been... Well, you did economics in school, but did you do politics before school or school before politics?
Well, I think growing up, I took a lot of leadership positions whilst I was in school. Primary school, junior high school, senior high school, all three through. I was a senior prefect. Okay. And then that moved me to the university. At the university, that's where my politics actually crystallized. I was a member of the TESCOM and a strong leader of the tertiary branch of the NPP, TESCOM KNUST, and also the president of the Brown Afro Students Union. So I was kind of preparing myself.
I see. So you are from the Bono Ahafo region?
Say Ahafo for now, because now the regions are separated now. So,
okay, I see. We like to call it Brown Ahafo, but we are not sure. People have divided the thing into 3 pieces. Now we don't know which piece.
The division started long ago.
I see. Okay. So you're originally from Ahafo?
Yes.
But you did a lot of your work in Kumasi?
Yes, I went to Kumasi for the first time for university education. I had everything in Brown Ahafo, and then I went to Kumasi for university education. And I stayed in Kumasi through that time and after university education. But the apex part of my politics growing up as a young person came up in Kumasi, where I rose to the rank of becoming the Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer of MPP through a competitive election.
Interesting. Yeah. But the seat you're looking at is in the Ahafo region. What constituency is that?
And that is Tanonof.
Tanonof.
That's my home constituency. That's where I come from. That's where I grew up until I left after senior high school to go to university in Kumasi. But I've kept a very good relationship and in touch with my people. So
is Tanonof an MPP seat, an NDC seat?
Yeah, Tanonof, has been an MPP seat since 1996. Okay.
NDC has never won that
NDC
seat.
has never. And NDC will never win Tanonof.
But Tano South is NDC, huh?
Yeah, Tano South flips. Sometimes it goes to NDC, sometimes it goes to NPP. But Tanonof has never been. It is always an MPP seat from 1996.
So it's not an orphan constituency.
And in perpetuity shall it be.
And it's not an orphan constituency.
It's not.
And you have an interest there. How is it looking?
Well, we'll get to that bridge when we cross that bridge when we get there. I just want to focus now on what is at hand.
No problem.
And once we are done with that, we come to the parliamentary elections when the party officially opens the nominations. We will look at the considerations.
So talk to me. How did you get to work with Dr. Bawumia? How did you first start working with him?
Well, I got to know him when I was in student politics at KNUST in 2008 when he was adored at 2nd D. And then after that, we were doing politics at school, so we used to meet, but not in that close relationship until I became the Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer. And of course, he was also going to be a candidate. I remember at that time, when he was going to be nominated for the second time, he launched a book at the Physicians and Surgeons College. Remember that is book of macroeconomic economy of Ghana or something like that. So I attended that lecture. And when we finished, I was going to greet then candidate Akufo-Addo. And everybody was trying to, go and shake him. So when I shook hands with him, he said, "Oh, Gideon, come to the next day." So the next day I went to President Akufo-Addo's office and he told me he was going to nominate Bawumia that's Dr. Bawumia, for the second time. He had not made the announcement yet. That was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks to the announcement. But then Kandi Akufo-Addo told me he was going to nominate Bawumia the second time. And when he nominates him, he wants the youth of Ashanti to organize a big rally for him.
Okay.
So he gave that charge to me and my deputy.
You were a youth organizer at the time?
I was a youth organizer at the time. So then my deputy was the current general secretary of the party, Justin Kodia from JFK.
Oh, okay.
So he asked Mr. Bochejaku to call me, and then they gave us the resources to do that organization. So when he eventually announced Bawumia for the second time as running mate, the next day or so, we held that rally in Kumasi, at Kumasi Polytechnic.
By this time, you still had not met Bawumia yet?
Yeah, so that day when we finished, there was a small, get-together or something at somebody's house in Kumasi at Asimaso. And when I got there, that is when I had close relationship with Bawumia. We sat together. He was so happy about the rally, and we finished everything. And from there, we kept very good relationship. And after the elections, we didn't win. I traveled to the United States in 2013, and along the line, I got invitation to come back to KNUST to do a second master's degree to be considered for a lectureship position. And so I decided to leave America and come back to Ghana. And I came to Ghana and I started my program, and then we kept the relationship until I got a scholarship to go back to school to do my PhD. So during the PhD days, we still kept very good relationship. At that time, he knew when I was going to do my PhD, so I informed him, and he was happy that I was going to do PhD in financial economics. And so we used to exchange emails, telephone calls. Sometimes there are some interesting academic papers I will see, and I will email to him. I will write something. I also send to him and ask for his comments because he's an economist. So even through my PhD days, we used to exchange emails and then write-ups to see how I can work out things proper. And so he knew very well, and he was following my PhD progress keenly.
So when I finished, technocrat, you are a technocrat. Even though he's doing politics, you are doing politics.
Yeah. So when I finished my PhD, the same week, I got invitation to come back to Ghana through the current finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. So I came to join the NPP side of the transition team on finance. So I came to Ghana within a week or two after my PhD, and then I joined the transition team, some of the discussions they were doing on the economy, how to rebrand the economy, how to restructure our debts. And through that process, Vice President then met me again. He had been elected as Vice President in a month or so. I said, "Oh, Gideon, are you back?" And I said, "Yes, I'm back from school." And they said, "So what are you going to do?" But at that time, I had a lot of offers. I had an offer as a postdoctoral scholar at one of the universities in Canada. I had an offer at the University of South Africa, and I had appointment as a lecturer at KNUST. And 3 months before I finished my PhD, the University of Witwatersrand was also giving me a research position. So I was a bit confused which one to take. So I decided to stay whilst teaching at KNUST. And then the finance minister also wanted me to help at the finance ministry. So I was moving from KNUST to finance ministry whilst we were preparing the budget, President Akufo-Addo's first budget. So somewhere in March after the budget, the vice president invited me to come officially to work in his office. So I had to consider leaving all the other positions, including the ones outside the country,
to work for the
and then work for him. But we went through the process, got the chief of staff to write a letter to KNUST to release me on secondment.
So you're on leave of a
So currently I'm on leave. I'm still a lecturer at KNUST, but I'm on leave. Yeah.
Okay. Who is Dr. Bawumia outside what we know him in politics? In terms of his personal life, family, what kind of person is he? Because you are his spokesperson, which means you know him more than anybody else.
I do know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the vice president.
Does he like going to fish, maybe, or does he like to do horse riding? Or
he's a tennis type.
He likes tennis.
He likes tennis. And sometimes we travel outside the country, and the hotels that we are in, he'll go down and play tennis.
Okay.
And recently we traveled to, I think, Barbados or something. And luckily, when we got to the hotel at the poolside, there was tennis there. I said, that's good. And in the morning, he would get up, go for a walk. And after walking, we just come and stand by the tennis, play tennis. Sometimes he plays with those who know how to play. Me, I don't know how to play, but some of the members in our team who know how to play, he plays with them, and then he goes out to freshen up before we set out for our daily activity. So he likes to play tennis. He's a very much, He's a football fan.
Okay, likes football too.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Are you serious? Why? Because his boss is Tottenham?
That's his team,
How can the whole children be supporting? What is this?
So he doesn't joke with his Tottenham Hotspur. So he's a zealotry in football.
What about music? Does he like music? Does he like to dance? Does he know how to dance? Does he know how to sing?
I haven't heard him sing any music, but for a few foreign Christian songs, sometimes you hear him, some music is playing, singing along, like this one.
Oh, I see. Since you mentioned foreign Christian song, I think it's only fair to quickly put this in. In the heat of the campaign last year, something came up about him being called, is it Timothy? Or, so he's supposed to have had a Christian name when he was growing up. Is it that he was a Christian when he was growing up and became a Muslim? What was that background? No, the story, as I have been told, is that Dr. Bawumia's mom was a Methodist before marriage. This is a story I know. To the extent that she even went to Wesley Girls, which is a Methodist school. So his mother was a Methodist before marriage. So it is marriage that converted the mother to Islam. And so once a Methodist, Methodist Women's Fellowship, it was still in the woman. Yeah. So even as they were growing up, some of his siblings, the father has 17 children. 9 of them are Christians and 8 of them are Muslims. So some of his siblings were still going to church. So once in a while, some of them will also go to church. And he also developed love for the Methodist church to the extent that he was a member of the Tamale Methodist Boys Brigade. So that is how he has been brought up. He's been brought up in a family in which we have Christians and Muslims living in the same house, sleeping in the same room, and they get up on Sunday. Some are going to church, others are home. Friday, some are going to the mosque, others are home. And so that is how he has had that love for both Christianity and Islam, and that has been his trend. And in his relationship, he has a lot of friends who are Christians. And I was saying yesterday that it appears today he's the political figure who gets invitation to attend church programs more than any other person. I'll come back to his Muslim and Christian thing and how that's going to affect his campaign, whether positively or negatively. But let's just finish with him. So family-wise, what kind of person is he?
Yeah, he plays with his kids. I mean, when you go to the house, a lot of the time I go to the house with him when we close, because sometimes we have some other meetings that are supposed to be in the house. And as soon as he gets to the hall, the first thing is to go to where the children are.
How many children does he have?
4, I think 4. Yeah, 4.
Okay,
yeah.
I see. And so, he has a wife who was very active on the campaign. We saw that, the second lady. I don't know, you don't speak for her, so I won't ask you to talk about her, but what kind of person is she?
I mean, the second lady, as you can see her outside, she's a lovely person. I mean, very, very entertaining, very, very welcoming. I mean, there's not a single day. Sometimes I tease her that you and your husband, I want to see the day you fry your face. There's not a single day you see the second lady or the vice president showing that they are not happy or they are angry at you, even if they do something that they don't like. They have a nice way. They are not like some of us. Really, I will let you know.
They are not diplomatic at all.
Not at all, okay. But they are different. And the second lady, I must say, has done so well, with her position and the way she welcomes people, the way she endears herself to people. All of us working for the vice president feel so comfortable. Sometimes you may be working for a boss, but you may have, the other partner in the house. So when you're going to the house, you're even scared. But when she's coming, everybody loves to approach the second lady to talk to her. And sometimes you are even happy when she's in the house, because there are things that you want to push through your boss and you're not getting it down. When she comes and she hears about it, she's able to soften the grounds for you so quickly, and then things move. So that's the personality of.
So let's talk about why you, as a politician, decide to be with Dr. Mamudu Bawumia. What is his story that is attracting you and other members of the DMB team or the DMW team?
I think that we are Ghanaians first before politics. And what is most important is that we are in this pursuit of politics to make things better and life better for the Ghanaian people, especially the ordinary person. And so if you have that at the back of your mind, you consider the interests of the larger Ghanaian people before coming to do your politics. I have followed politics in this country for some time. I'm not too grown, but at least I've tasted life and I've seen the political arena in this country. I think personally that Bawumia has been the most influential person in our politics in terms of ideas, in terms of vision. He appears to be that politician who has a clear and properly articulated vision. A vision that you can identify with. A vision that you can see through and say that given all the other conditions favorable, given that you have proper people to execute this vision, given that you have people who have the willpower to execute this vision, these are the critical things that the country needs. And in these days, politics has moved from where it used to be to the politics of ideas. It is ideas and knowledge that run the world. So you need such visionary leadership who have that commitment and who have organized themselves in a way that you can see truly deep within them. They are not into politics to amass wealth for themselves, but they are into politics to ensure that things work. That has been the vice president, working with him so closely. Sometimes I even ask him, why are you worrying yourself so much? He will pick phone calls and call people, CEOs, and make sure, get worried. There was the last time I was with him on the motorway. We were going to Tema, I was sitting by his side, and the motorway was dark. I said, Gideon, why can't we have street lights on the motorway? Why should it be so difficult to fix street lights? And then he was like, who is in charge of this? On top of my head, I said, oh, maybe Energy Minister or ECG or Agrico. Then he picked the phone and called the ECG boss. And it's like, I'm on the motorway. The whole place is dark. Why can't we fix? Then he called the Deputy Minister, Honorable Oreko. And I tell you, 2 days' time, I was driving past the motorway and there were people there standing facing it. So that has been his passion. There's a vice president who walks through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Ghana Web, City Online, and he sees something and he forwards it to you. Can you call this person for me? Sometimes people talk about people in trouble. People talk about people having innovative ideas. I remember the gentleman who initially made arrest, did this pharmacy app. He saw it on social media and sent me a message that, look for this gentleman. I'm told he has a very nice app that can help us link people who have gone to hospital and want to buy drugs. And luckily when I checked, the gentleman was in my church and I invited him, the vice president met him and said, look, what can we do to help you to get this thing done? And he committed his own pocket money just to help that thing to develop. So you can see that the passion of the vice president and the love that he has to ensure that this country develops is so high. And I don't see him, look, he will sit down, come up with ideas, fantastic policies, government will adopt them to implement them. When it comes to the implementation, sometimes people would have followed up to see where the contract is going. He doesn't care. All that he's interested in is to ensure that you get the results. So that is what endears me to him.
We run an executive government. So the president is a leader. He forms his government, and the vice president, he called him and said, come and be my running mate. Of course, he cannot fire him midway, but the president really is the guy who's running the show. How important has Bawumia been to Akufo-Addo's government? What I mean is that, how important is he in the room where decisions are taken, the big decisions?
Well, so I would say that, per our constitution, vice presidents are not given explicit rules in terms of policy implementation and execution. Our vice presidents are providing supporting role to the president, more or less acting as advisors. But you have to carve a niche for yourself. And it is because of this limitation, constitutional limitation, that a lot of the time you will not see and realize the full impact of vice president. So we had vice president, but if we mention names, it is difficult for people to associate most of them with key deliverables. Now, what this vice president has tried to do as chairman of the economic management team, the economic management team is an advisory body to the president. They don't even advise cabinet. There's another subcommittee of cabinet, which is a cabinet subcommittee on the economy. The vice president is not part of that. who then have to advise cabinet. But the vice president has been put in a position to advise the president with his team. So there are a lot of the things that they take decisions and they have to make recommendations to the president, and the president then forwards them to the ministers if he deems them fit. Now, in doing that, he also realizes that he has to be forceful and push an agenda that he wrote in one of his books when he was in opposition. And his knowledge, academic knowledge and practical knowledge has taught him that the world is evolving, and we've moved from the first industrial revolution to the fourth industrial revolution, whereby everything is more or less anchored on digitization and technology. So how can we leverage digital opportunities that we have, technological opportunities, to make sure we develop our economy? And that is why we're doing a lot of the things that are happening. And on top of that, a lot of policy initiatives this government has implemented that I can see, most of them came from the vice president. For instance,
so does he get heard if he says things to the president? Does he always get the president's ears?
Why not? They have a very good relationship. I remember when we came in 2017, there was a problem of unemployment. Remember the Unemployed Graduates Association? So he sat with us one day and said, look, guys, this unemployment thing is a big pain to us. So we need to do something to address the issue. And quickly we sat around and then came up with the NAPCO, the Nation Builders Coin. So remember the day we launched NAPCO, the president paid a glowing tribute to the vice president. So these are the things that he does. Things like Agenda 111. I mean, he brought the idea, government took it, implemented it. Things like, the drones, the government took it, implemented it. Since like one constituency, one ambulance, he brought the idea. And recently, when we were suffering from depreciation, fuel price hikes and all, he came up with good for oil. And the government took it and implemented. So a lot of the things he suggested, by and large, I think government has taken them. We've implemented, we are seeing the results, but he still has a lot more ideas. Given the opportunity, he'll be able to share with Ghanaians.
This is Face to Face on City TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadou. My guest is Dr. Gideon Boako. He's spokesperson of Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And he's part of the team that wants to make sure that Dr. Bawumia's photo and name is on the NPP's flag and also on the Electoral Commission's ballot papers for election 2024. Please stay with us. We have more coming your way shortly.
Metal Ministries presents Praise Reloaded on Sunday the 25th of June 2023, featuring Dunsin Oyekan, Bethel Revival Choir, Edwin Datson and CC Chum. Time 5 p.m. Venue Oil Dome Accra. Rate 60 Ghana Cedis Standard, 100 Ghana Cedis Double and 150 Ghana Cedis VIP. Grab your tickets at Airport Shell, Bachuna Total, Osu Shell, Dansomon Shell, Tema Community Night Shell, J-Ray Shops, Nalem Shops, Hacho Shell. Online tickets www.jometalmusic.com. Ticket hotlines 0246 579 016 or 0501 192 797 and 0553 989 887 or dial star 725 star 5050 hash to purchase your tickets. Event ticketing powered by iPay. Sponsors Silicon House, DDP, Tang Palace, Total Family Health Organization, AIDS Protocol, Africa World Airlines, Green Line Jews and Eagle Guard Security Solutions. Media partners. This event is powered by Reverb Studios.
You're welcome back. This is Face to Face on City TV. My name is Umaru Sanda. I'm here with Dr. Gideon Boako. He speaks for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Ghana's economy is not doing well. The Vice President, ahead of election 2016, was portrayed as the economic whiskey. I remember the number of times I've had to travel to Mucho, the Central University campus, to go listen to his lectures. It appears what he delivered in opposition, the attacks on the government at the time, people believed that he was a master-stroke solution to our economic problems. And yet we are in a mess. Even though the President Akufo-Addo's government is what should take the blame, he, the Vice President, should be blamed for the mess, shouldn't he?
Well, first of all, I disagree with you.
Okay.
That this government has failed.
Oh, really?
That is a false narrative.
How? The dollar is running like Hussein Bolt. If I go to the fuel station to buy petrol, it's incredible. To go to the supermarket, they don't put the labels or the price anymore because it's changing every day.
Yeah, so you're talking about inflation.
Yeah, okay. All of that put together.
So the point I want to make is that, yes, indeed, like all other economies, you will never have a situation whereby you have such a catastrophic effect on the economy like we experienced recently through COVID and Russia and Ukraine, and you won't take a hit on the economy. For us in Ghana, what matters most to us is how we're able to deal with and address the issues that we have as a country. This government on its own has done what we think is all our right to kind of mitigate the sufferings and the hardships that the economic effects are having on the people. We didn't come into power with a mindset that we'll be able to address every single problem of every Ghanaian. And I think every Ghanaian understands that. But we came to power with a mindset that we'll be able to do what we can to reduce the burdens of the people. The ones that we can solve completely, we solve for the people of Ghana. And when things get better, we all benefit from that. That is what President Akufo-Addo's government has been doing right from the beginning. Of course, we can say that the situation that we have ourselves in now, comparative terms with what pertained at the time that this government came to power from 2017 to 2019 initial stages, are not the same. Because every Ghanaian understands the fact that the economy was doing better from 2017 to 2019 until COVID struck and the Russia-Ukraine war came. But even in the midst of that, we are trying to solve the problems and ensure that Ghanaians are able to go about their life activities in a manner that will be satisfactory, even if it is not fully satisfactory. That is why today, in the midst of all the challenges, you can see that the government has done well to ensure basic amenities that people depend on for their life, like electricity, is flowing constant. We've not had the issue of threats of doing so, even in the midst of the challenges that we have. We've ensured that if you go to the pumps, yes, fuel prices may be high, but people can have it. It's better than the situation where you have fuel prices still high and people cannot buy. We're working so hard to ensure that we're able to provide roads for people to access, to go to their houses in their hometowns. We will not say we have tarred all roads or constructed all roads that we have to construct as a government. But indeed, we can beat our hands to our chest that this government has constructed more roads than any other government since 1992. What is the economy about? The economy
Do you
is
have
about,
a number to support this, your claim?
Yes, the economy is about employment. People need jobs. We will not say we've provided jobs to every single Ghanaian youth who needs job. But we can say that in the last 6.5 years, we've provided 2.1 million jobs. This has never happened in our history since 1992.
Gideon, your boss is the man behind the NAPCO. That NAPCO was temporary employment. They have been demonstrating for their allowances. The program has ended. You've essentially made them taste honey for a few months and then you took it away from them. What purpose have you served them?
So the NAPCO was a policy. And the policy had clear parameters. And the parameters around NAPCO was that this was not going to be a permanent employment. It was going to provide some stopgap measure to make sure we deal with the problems that the people were going through at the time. So suppose it lasts for 3 years, after which there was supposed to be that exit strategy for them. I don't think that the people who were on NAPCO have any qualms with the fact that the 3 years has ended and that they have exited. I think there's an issue with some allowances that were due that have not been paid. And that one is a matter of how the finance ministry see the fiscals and the whatever is in the kitty, and they address that issue. So I don't think there's an issue around NAPCO as to why the people have exited. It was clear to them.
So let's look at other issues. Your boss, when he was campaigning, said he was going to arrest the dollar, give the keys to the IGP. What's happening with the dollar? What happened? Did it break jail? It appears it has carried the jail away with it.
No. I mean, it's also a matter of understanding exactly what we are saying. The vice president, when we came into power, of course, before we came into power, we saw that rapid depreciation of the cedi to the extent that within the fiscal year, the cedi could depreciate by 32%, 31%. So that was alarming. And then we move on down to 59%. When we came to power in 2017, we had an average depreciation of about 4% or so. So that was a marked improvement as far as the depreciation of the cedi was concerned. So the vice president spoke at the time, and looking at the data and the progress that we had made on the performance of the currency, was confident enough to say that, look, we've arrested the depreciation. When we talk of depreciation, it's a rate of change. So it is how fast the thing moves. It is not to say that there wouldn't be depreciation at all. The nature of our economy and the structure that it is, there's no way you will say you are running a floating exchange rate regime and highly dependent on imports, and your currency will never depreciate. It's just like inflation. The economists will say inflation will never peter out. That's what peter out inflation. You will never have a system where you have zero or inflation getting to the negatives. At any point in time, prices on the market may inch up, but you try to control the rate at which it is moving.
Yeah, but if
so that is a
the rate was
progression.
bad and you're going to fix it, and you have come and you are not able to fix it, how seriously should
No,
we take it?
we said we're going to fix it using what as a benchmark? Using the government that was there and the performance as a benchmark.
But you have
in terms of that comparative performance, this government has done more.
Oh, how?
If you look at even if
the
you
exchange
take,
rate
no,
in 2016.
let me give you the data. If you look at the rate of depreciation in terms of cumulative sense, from 2013 to 2016, the cedi depreciated cumulative by 72%.
No problem.
Today, as I speak with you,
wait, as of the time Mahama said goodbye, how much was $1?
That is the nominal.
Yes, but that's what people
yes,
really
but
want.
if you talk about the nominal, then we can't talk about depreciation. Let's talk about cedis in hard currency.
No, but
so no.
I'm just talking about the
I understand you, but
physical
I understand
and the business
you. But you are talking about depreciation.
Yes, it's work together.
No, if you talk about depreciation, is rate of change.
Yes,
I'm sorry, it is a technical thing, but that is how it has to be explained.
Is that not what affects the cedis?
That is the point. That is the point. It's a rate of change. So what we are saying is that you can say Mahama ended it, let's say 4.2, 4.3, 4.5. Okay.
And you are 20-something cedis and coming down to 12 cedis or 11 cedis now.
No, it's about 11 cedis also. So if you want to say that this government has not performed better because we pick it from, let's say, 4-point-something, it's now 11, you have to ask yourself, where did Mahama pick it from?
Does it matter?
No. You are saying that Mahama has done better than us, and I'm telling you, it matters because that is when you do the depreciation.
Where do we start calculating?
No, I'm coming.
Is it not when the last government left that we should start calculating?
No, you don't do that. When you do that, then there's no point to compare. There's actually no point doing the comparison, but because it is politics. Okay, and
I want to compare 8 years versus 8 years. You want to break the 8.
That is why I'm telling you that if you want to compare 8 years versus 8 years, I was giving you the data to tell you that this government has done far better than Mahama. If Mahama's government is what you're using as the yardstick, but to the Ghanaian people on the market, they don't care about that. You understand? What they're interested in is that when they go to the market and they go to China or Dubai to come back, when they sell and they are going, they don't have to double the cedis that they use to buy the dollar to go to the market. That is what matters to the ordinary Ghanaian. And that argument is solid and it makes sense. But once you bring in the politics and want to try to do comparison to see which of the governments has preserved the potency of the cedi very well, in that case, in all due respect, I will tell you, this government has done far better than the NDC government did. That's
Let's move forward. When you promise us that as a government you're never going to go to IMF, and I'm putting all the issues of government to you because your boss is a vice president. He's the second most important one in this particular government now. So almost everything, now that Akufo-Addo's photo will not be on the ballot, if his photo comes on the ballot, he has to take the excesses and the positives as well. So the major excesses, you've gone to IMF, you said you would never go there, you're proud and all of that. If you have lied to us, and I'm using lied advisedly here, in the first place by saying you won't take us to IMF, and now you have, why should we trust anything else that Dr. Bawumia says to us on this current campaign trail? And I want you to speak to the NPP delegate who is watching you, who is feeling the pain because his imports from China or wherever is really troubling him, and who is thinking that, listen, Akufo-Addo's government has not done well, and so everything with Akufo-Addo's government should go. What would you say to such a person?
Yeah, in the first place, it is not right when you say the government said it will not go to IMF, it has gone to IMF, therefore has lied. That's not the decision or the communication that we will not go to IMF. It's not a decision that government
So
communicated.
it's not a national,
No.
it's not a government policy.
It's an indication by some actors and operators in government.
Key
At the
actors.
end of the day, when the government and the cabinet took a decision on the IMF, we communicated to Ghanaians and that we were going to IMF and executed that. So that was the official position of government on the IMF then. Then on the issue of the performance of the economy and the government, what I want to say is that governments are in place to solve problems for the people. We know our problems are many. They may be uncountable. And so any government at any time, you can try to do your best and the people will have to make the judgments. I believe that this government, in relative terms, has done so well. We came into government where things were so difficult for the ordinary Ghanaian people to the extent that some goodies that Ghanaians were enjoying had been scrapped by the previous government. Things like, teacher trainee allowances, nursing trainee allowances. We had to restore them. Okay, in that case, you are solving problems for people. We came into government where parents were struggling to pay school fees of their wards at senior high schools. This government took a bold step in the first term to bring free senior high school. It doesn't address all the problems of the country, but it deals with the problem somehow. We came into government where having access to electricity to power a lot of the generators and the things that we do in this economy to get things running was a problem. This government did so well to make sure that we have sustained our electricity supply.
But because you're going into an internal election, these are successes of the government. What are Dr. Bawumia's own successes in this government that can be pointed and traced to him?
Every success of this government is a Bawumia success. Every failure of this government is a Bawumia failure and everybody's failure.
Okay, but what are the key policies that you say are his brainchild? So the NAPO you mentioned.
Yeah. So these are the things I was talking about. So there was an unemployment problem. Bawumia brought the idea of NAPCO. We dealt with it. We had problems with ambulances. You could see videos moving around showing that some mother was going to deliver. There was no ambulance to carry, and they carried them on people's shoulders. The vice president brought the idea, one constituency, one ambulance. We implemented it, but it went so well. You see mobile money interoperability. People could not just transfer money from one telco to the other. Mobile money interoperability was taken upon. It was executed very well. You see the digitization initiatives that we have brought. People had to go and queue, at district offices of National Health Insurance just to register or renew their membership of National Health Insurance. You brought the digital aspect. You can do it on your phone. Electricity units, you can buy it at the comfort of your home. We brought the Ghana.gov to deal with a lot of the corruptions at DVLA passport office. You can go online, apply for passport DVLA services and pay online, and everything is fine. See the issue with drones. Brought the idea of drones. Initially, people didn't understand. He took his grounds, made sure that we implemented the drone issue. It came up. The issue about hospital beds and availability of hospitals was a problem. He went to the president, suggested the idea of Agenda 111, and there we go. We are building hospitals across. When all these crystallize, this will be the major investment in the health sector of this country. When we were having big hits on the currency and fuel prices last year, the vice president sat down, brought the idea of gold for oil. And through the implementation of gold for oil, from December till now, fuel prices has gone down by 47%, from 23 cedis per liter to about 11 to 12 cedis per liter. Never in the history of this country have we seen fuel prices rise up and drop like it has done. From February till now, because of the gold for oil policy, the cedi has never depreciated. From February till now, we haven't had such a long span of period in which our city has been anchored to the extent that there's no depreciation. So you can clearly see, and the policies are many, you can clearly see that the vice president has a lot of vision. When there were issues about roads, he had to go to China, brought the Sino-Hydro infrastructure for bauxite issue. It is upon that that the president had the confidence to declare the year of roads. The Tamale interchange is through Sino-Hydro. The Cape Coast Inner City roads that have been done, it is through Sino-Hydro. The Pristia Takwa roads is through Sino-Hydro. You go to Sunyani, Dr. Berlin Top, all the roads that are done in Sunyani, it is through Sino-Hydro. You go to Ninahini, All the roads done in Yenahin Pasatia area, it is true Sano Hydro. 100 kilometers of road within the inner city of Kumasi. Go to Kumasi today, and you see that a lot of the inner city roads are done. It is true Sano Hydro. It took the visionary Bawumia to think outside the box, to say that, look, this is a challenge we have. Let's bring a strategy. Let's bring an idea to deal with that present challenge. And these are the issues that we're talking about. That, look, he's a leader who has clear vision, well articulated, and today he's telling us that, look, given the opportunity, he can do more because he's played the role like assistant coach, offering tactical solutions to problems that we are having on the pitch. The ones that we've implemented, everybody can see the effects of those tactical ideas. Now the coach is hesitant. He says that, give me the opportunity. Having been the assistant coach for 6.5 years, getting to 8 years, give me the opportunity to also manage this team, where I have the opportunity to assemble my own team, bring new people on board, see where I have to do changes. This person have to sit back, let this new player come in from the bench and see the results, having foreknowledge of the tactical ideas that I have. So that is what the vice president is saying. We believe that he can easily do.
We have always been under the impression that Dr. Bawumia, the vice president, is the man who runs the digitization agenda of the government. So the paperless sport is a credit that goes to him. I spoke to Nana Ohanin too, who is on Alan Chamantin's campaign team just a week ago. He has said to me that that credit should not go to the vice president, and that credit goes to his boss, Alan Chamantin, and that paperless sport was introduced by the Ministry of Trade. And yet your outfit and your office and your members of your government have insisted that they're from the vice president.
Do I even have to be the one to answer this question? Let's ask Ghanaians, the ordinary Ghanaian on the street, who do they associate the paperless sport with? You see, I don't need to get into this because of the internal elections. I was with the vice president. When we started, this is how he was introducing most of his policy ideas. He paid an unannounced visit to the ports, and I'm sure you guys followed. It was when we went there that he made that policy initiative, because when we started, he took a strategy. There are a lot of the ideas that he has. Before he would do that, he would go to the sector, visit them, identify himself with the issues, and then bring the policy out. And then he brought the paperless sport. We held a conference, 2-day conference on paperless sport in Ghana, inviting people from Belgium port, inviting people from Dubai port, and all the best for Singapore and all of that to have a conference. In these conferences, I'm sorry to say, the trade minister was not part of these conferences. So the vice president brought all these ideas. When he wanted to talk about digitization of the Lands Commission documents, we paid a visit to the Lands Commission, and he made an announcement. We paid a visit to the Procurement Authority, and he made an announcement about e-procurement. Following from that, myself and the head of the procurement and the procurement team, we had to travel to Ukraine, because Ukraine has the best procurement system in the whole world, to go and learn from that. So there are a lot of these policies.
He said that this paperless sport idea came from Ministry of Communication for the grand digitization. So Communication Ministry then distributed to the various ministries to do.
He has no idea.
And that it is, and in fact, he has said to me that former Deputy Minister at the Trade Ministry, former MP for Tama West, Carlos Ahinkra, is a man who was the lead guy at the ministry. And so if I even wanted, I could ask that the former deputy minister.
Ignore all those comments. I don't need to respond. All of them are lies. I know it's never close to the government. He doesn't even know what happens in the government. I don't know why they are trying to take credit for something that they didn't actually participate in. Okay, all the meetings we had in the vice president's office, the freight forwarders, the port people, GPH. I don't need to go through all of that. It is so clear and obvious.
So it wasn't the ministry that was leading it?
Not at all. Not at all. Don't listen to some of these things.
Okay, because people will say that we have a vice president, he cannot really be on the ground doing the work himself.
No, he is not.
He would delegate for his ministers to do. If the minister did it, then he should not take credit for that.
It's not the minister for trade. All the digitalization thing we have been doing, they are done with Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Communication and Digitization and all of that. I'm surprised to hear the name Ministry of Trade. Of course, when you deal with ports, you're talking about trade facilitation and all of that. So at that level, that is where Ministry of Trade comes in.
But
in terms of the digitization issue, I honestly didn't see the interplay of, I'm sorry to say, but that is practically what happened.
This is face-to-face on City TV. My guest is Dr. Gideon Boako. He speaks for Vice President Bawumia. When we come back, The religious card that is being played, how is the vice president going to maneuver his way out of that? Please stay with us.
It's the dawn of a new day, the day of a competition. From the shores to the pools to the beaches across the land, if you fancy yourself a competitive swimmer, this is for you. The CTTV National Swimming Championships is happening on the 15th and the 16th of July 2023 at the Trust Sports Emporium. To register, WhatsApp your name, age and contact details to 0558 973 973 or call 0205 973 973. The CTTV National Swimming Championships is brought to you by CTTV with support from 97.3 City FM and the Ghana Swimming Association.
You're welcome back to Face to Face on City TV. We are told that the NPP is a tradition that rewards loyalty and longevity. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, we are told, has a history of CPP, PNDC, NDC elements. How is this person going to be the leader of the New Patriotic Party? I believe that has come a lot of the times when you're on the campaign. Bawumia offering. How do you answer that question? Because until 2007, he was not a card-bearing member of NPP. No, he didn't told them to give him a card. How do you deal with that? That is a foreigner, quote unquote, in your party.
Well, in the first place, I think that will not be a fair comment to pass on the Vice President Bawumia. We are all party people, and I know that there are a lot of party people who don't have party cards. Yes, the party card is good, but I won't place so much premium on it as the identifier of where the loyalty and allegiance of somebody. There are a lot of NDC people who may have MPP party cards. There are a lot of MPP people who may have NDC party cards. Me sitting here in front of you, I've been the regional youth organizer for Ashanti on the ticket of MPP. I've never had a party card. There are so many people.
You still don't?
I still don't. Millions of people in the party today who don't have party card. From 2017 till now, the party has not even rolled out any printing of party cards for supporters. So how can a party have a vacuum of 5 to 6 years, no printing of cards for supporters, and you can blame somebody for not having a party card? I understand now they have started and people are going to, queue for party card. So don't let us place so much premium on the fact that somebody doesn't have a party card, is not a party person. Dr. Bawumia, as far as I know, I don't care about people's lineage and ancestral history, because I don't know where my grandfather stood, whether CPP or UP or whatever, and that is of no material effect. What is important is me, myself. Who am I? Which political party do I belong to and believe in? That is what we must talk about. The Vice President, as far as I know, started serving in the MPP and the MPP government under President Kufuor. When President Kufuor came in 2001, he appointed Governor Paul Akwa as the Governor of Bank of Ghana. Dr. Paul Akwa appointed Bawumia as a special assistant at the Bank of Ghana in 2001. In 2001, President Kufuor had what we will call today the Economic Management Team. It used to be Economic Policy Coordinating Committee. And he made Dr. Bawumia and Dr. Kotose of blessed memory co-chair his version of the Economic Management Team. I believe President Kufuor truly trusted Bawumia and knew where he stood before he gave him that position. When they advised Kufuor's government to go on HIPIC, and the MPP government under President Kufuor decided to go for HIPIC, Dr. Bawumia was made the leader of the HIPIC Negotiations Committee in 2001 under President Kufuor. After that, President Kufuor appointed Dr. Bawumia board member of Ghana Telecom. And in 2006, when there was vacancy at the Bank of Ghana for deputy governor position, those positions, they wouldn't just give it to anybody. President Kufuor appointed Bawumia as the deputy governor at the Bank of Ghana. So President Kufuor gave Dr. Bawumia 5 key appointments and positions in his government.
Even as a non-card bearing member.
Exactly, before President Kufuor identified him and made him the running mate. So if President Kufuor and co didn't know who Bawumia was, where he stood as far as politics is concerned, I don't think President Kufuor would have given him those sensitive positions. But of course, somebody who works at the Bank of Ghana, how can he put on party colors? There are certain jobs you do. You sitting here, you're a journalist. I don't know whether you are MPP or CPP or NDC.
I can't
But
say
whichever political party you belong to, you can't say it and you can't put on the color of the party.
So how about the part that they say, oh, Edru Yesu, and now Edru Alan Chamantin, so because he has tried before, it is his turn now, and that Dr. Bawumia should hold on and buy this time.
I don't think we have anything in the MPP that says this is the queue and it moves from this person to this person. And that has been our history. We don't have that tradition in the MPP. And when President Akufo-Addo was contesting, if there was such a tradition, Mr. Alan would have said that, oh, I do President Akufo-Addo, so I'm not contesting.
Okay,
but he contested anytime President Akufo-Addo contested for the position. So he didn't realize it is the turn of somebody at the time. I don't think it is important for us to belabor that point. What is important is that come and tell the party people why you think you should be the leader that should lead the party. Why you think you are the one who can help us consolidate our gains in our strongholds, traditional strongholds, while at the same time getting new votes from the non-traditional strongholds of the NPP.
Talking about traditional votes, the New Patriotic Party wins a lot of votes from Akan areas. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not an Akan. What is the guarantee that he can win for your party votes from Ashanti and Eastern region?
Well, I don't think that's a big problem. It's not a problem at all, in all honesty. Because, yes, of course, every political party has traditional strongholds. The MPP has, to its credit, Ashanti and Eastern. The NDC had Volta and Northern region, and even they'll come to that. And so, as for your traditional strongholds, yeah, they're your strongholds. That is not to say that if you put any candidate at all, the people will vote for the person. They want to see a candidate that truly represents a candidate that they can rely on, a candidate that can help develop the nation. I see Dr. Bawumia to not have a problem at all, because in the first place, there is no motivation for anybody in the Akan area to say that I won't vote for Bawumia because he's a Northerner. And I don't see we the Akans doing that. We don't vote just because somebody is from our end or is not from our end. We belong to political parties and we believe in individuals. Okay? But in any case, if anybody has any fears that if you vote for Bawumia, the Akans who are majority NPP will not vote for Bawumia, who would they vote for? Who and what is the alternative to the NPP and Bawumia? It's Mahama and the NDC. But it's Mahama and Akan. It's Mahama from Ashanti or Eastern. Okay? So the NDC has a candidate who is not an Akan. The NPP has a candidate who is not an Akan. The advantage that it brings to the NPP rather is that whilst there will not be any motivation for the NPP supporter in the Akan area to say, I won't vote for Bawumia because he's a Northerner and I'm going to vote for Mahama, who is also a Northerner, you are able to consolidate your gains in your strongholds. Then you leave Bawumia and Mahama to fight in the strongholds of the NDC, where they both come from, and see whether or not your candidate will have a competitive advantage over the NDC in his own backyard. That is where the strength of Bawumia comes in. Because if you follow the data and history, it will tell you that Bawumia has been able to exert a lot of influence to the advantage of the NPP in the north. How? In the sense that when Bawumia came into the political scene, out of the 31 parliamentary seats that were in the then northern region, that is now divided into 3, northern, Savannah, east, northeast, 31 seats. NDC had 3 out of the 31.
MPP
had 3 out of the 31. NDC had 28. Today, at the end of 2020, with the influence of Bawumia, the 28 seats NDC had dropped to 15. The 3 seats that NPP has increased to 16. So now, Northeast, Savannah, Northern region, NPP is in commanding lead.
By 1 seat.
By extra. 1 seat. If you go to Northern region proper now, out of the 18 seats, NPP has 9, NDC has 9. So Bawumia has been able to show that even as running mate, he could compete with Mahama as a presidential candidate on the ticket of the NDC and change the dynamics in the north to the advantage of the NPP. Then again, in 2020 elections, you saw how parliament elections went. Nearly split. Okay? NPP won 17 seats from the NDC. Seats that were held by the NDC that NPP took. The whole country, NPP took 17 seats. Out of the 17 seats, 15 of them came from the north. So it will tell you that consistently and over time, the effects of Bawumia and other people in the NPP have been able to turn around things in the stronghold of the NDC. That is when he was a running mate. Now, if you put him head to head with Mahama, both presidential candidates, both Northerners, if you say an Akan will not vote for Bawumia because he's a Northerner, there's no motivation for the Akan to vote for Mahama.
Right.
So in the Akan areas, then the NPP continues to maintain ourselves as a stronghold in the Akan areas. But when it gets to the north, which is the stronghold of the NDC, Bawumia has shown that he's able to break the NDC. And the NDC campaign, to end with, has been two-dimensional. They play tribal politics and religious politics. Goes to the north and the non-Akan areas and tells them that MPP's Akan party, don't vote for them. They go to the Zangos and tell the woman MPP doesn't like Muslims. If you are competing with somebody, and these are the strengths of the person, what do? You disarm the person where his strengths are. If you present Bawumia, the NDC cannot go to the non-Akan areas, and I'm not referring to just northern. If you go to Gadangwe, you go to Krobo, you go to all the other areas that are non-Akan, NDC cannot go there and tell them that don't vote for Bawumia because he belongs to a party that are non-Akans. Then they cannot also go to the Zangos and tell the Zangos don't vote for MPP because they hate Muslims. In that case, you have disarmed the NDC in their strongholds, and the NDC knows that. That is why morning, afternoon, evening, the attack is on Bawumia.
But how about the Christian votes in 30 seconds? Can he win the Christian votes?
Why not? Like I told you from the beginning, Bawumia himself, you will say, is partially Christian, partially Islam. And I'm telling you that I haven't seen any political figure in this country today who is more loved and invited to Christian programs more than Bawumia. Sanda, if somebody doesn't like you, you not invite you to come and dine with the person. So the Christians have seen that Bawumia is of no threat because they see him as a unifier. They see him going to the church, quoting the Bible, endearing himself with the people. And it is not
gospel music.
Yes, and it is not fake because this has been him true. Today, Bawumia is a patron of the Methodist Boys Brigade. He was a Methodist Boys Brigade when he was young, and today he has been a patron of the Methodist Boys Brigade for so long a time. He loves the church. He loves Islam. He loves his God. He believes that, as he has said, there's no doubt that Jesus Christ will come back again and save the world. And he believes that is also in the Quran. And so there's no problem at all with Bawumia when it comes to religion and all of that.
Dr. Gideon Boako, spokesperson of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, thank you for joining us on Facebook.
You're most welcome.
And my name is Umaru Sandamadu. Thank you for watching City TV. It's your world.